up?
Hey everyone. Welcome to our webinar, and Seafood Larry is going to be manning the Facebook side of things for everyone. So if you're on Facebook watching this, you can go ahead and send in some questions to us, and he'll make sure that gets over to me, and I'll get that to Seafood Foo. If you have any questions for me as well, you can ask. If you have any questions for Seafood Larry specifically, we're all here to help you grow and hopefully cure your curiosity and help you expand your knowledge. So
And become better people.
yeah, absolutely. And Seafood Foo is going to talk about probiotics today.
I'm only kidding about that.
I know you're kidding. I know. Yeah, no, we might do.
But it's actually good for you.
Yeah, we might do a podcast on that one day. But we were kind of joking about that. Hey, Richard. I'm going to say hi to everyone else because see we got some more people on. So hi again to Albin. We got Cowgler, Caleb, Raf, Richard, Rick, Terry, Seafood Larry, and Vivek. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. And just a real quick, if you guys have anything that you want to chat about, just like normal stuff, like hey guys or whatever, you can chat to other people in the chat section. Just make sure that you choose that it goes to all panelists and attendees. If you want everyone to see it, or if you just want us to see it, choose all panelists. And if you have an actual question, there's a spot to submit your question. It says Q&A, so click on that, and you'll be able to use that. And that will just help me be able to not lose your questions in the chat room. So if you could do that, I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, so you guys and gals think of some questions. I'm going to go ahead and move to the email ones that we received earlier in the week. And let's see. Seafood P says, I have a question a young man posed to me. I think there are many answers, but I'd like to hear yours. And there are many answers. I'm just going to warn you. What is the best way to get out of a situation where the attacker grabs you from behind in any which way? So I did reach out to him and ask him to ask a student to give us like a couple specific scenarios, but unfortunately, he didn't write me back yet. So
if he doesn't want to write back, I ain't answering.
So yeah, obviously it depends. There's a bazillion different ways depending on how they're grabbed.
Yeah, there are different types of grabs. Common is around the waist and the arms, depending on whether he grabs you with a free arm or with your arms pinned. If they grab you just around the waist, if they grab you more along the elbows. So it depends on that, and the way you're grabbed is going to it's going to determine how you're going to respond to it. Most of all, the most important thing is no matter what happens, you want to get control of his hands to his arms one way or another, because through that he's going to be able to pick you up and throw you down to the ground. He could drop on the floor, pull you. So we want to have the best control possible, and that's through the limbs. So Seafood Larry. So basically the general rule is this. Basically, no matter how you grab, if you grab free body like this, you want to get your body connection to him. Do not get yourself away, because then he will yank you, pull you, throw you. The best thing I can tell you to do is put pressure on your opponent as well. Don't take pressure off trying to just get away, because when he does that, he'll yank you and pull you. The best thing is get control of the hand and put the pressure back on him. So when he throws you, you're getting on, you're on him too. See, he has a harder time throwing me, because what happens is I'm putting it into his body. But if I try to get away and lean, he can yank that up and throw me much easier. So that's one of the most important things, that you want to sit into him with your body, like boom, and sit, get my butt on him, get my back on him, like I want to do, so I'm pushing my body towards him. The reason why I want to do this, I want to create pressure on his body and in his hands. If I don't create pressure into him, then he can take my body in any direction he wants. But if I can go like this, take me somewhere, and I put the pressure on him, he has a very hard time. Not to say it's impossible. That's just a point that you want to have. That's one of the things that makes it hard for him. That's not going to stop him. From there, if I have my free arms, best thing is the attack. I get in here, boom, 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 and I go for the attacks. So what I want to do is create oppositional attacks, because if I do this naturally, you might want to dodge. So then I can go for the strike. So the elbow shots are the best. The other thing is, the other thing is if I feel him take me down, I want to make sure I control the hands. And the reason why is because if I can control the hands, I can now use my arms to get the body. So if he throws me, I can now take his arm and prevent him from being able to pick me up. So I can shoot around the shoulder to the elbow, pin the hands up, makes him go up, and bring the arms down at the same time. And if I need to, okay, if I feel him trying to throw me, I can literally come in and I can take a step away at the same time. Drive. Oh, brings him right down. You can't see it, but that's what you want to do. So if I have a free arm and I feel him trying to take me down the ground, it's kind of inevitable if he's big and strong. So instead of fighting it, take advantage of it. Take the feeling that he's trying to pull you to the ground and steer it. You're going to go down, but you can steer it. You'll go down to your turn, not his turn. Where if he picks me up and throws me, I'm like, oh, like this, and my hands go away. I can't attack my ball. But when I have my arms pinned to him, I actually want to turn my body into the elbow and take my leg away, turn my hip into that. So I want to go here. Like if he tries to take me, I just want to drop, and he'll come down. From there, I have an elbow shot. I have everything. I can take my attack. And I might be hard to see from that, but I'm actually just turning my hip away and driving down the energy. So I'm not trying to force him down. I'm actually turning him down. If I just drop and do this, he can use his legs to help. So I want to step away. So I take away his base to hold me up, but bring it down. So it's hard. Once I'm here, I have the elbow. I kind of put my elbow from here. So I have a million things to do from that. Now, if I have my arms pinned from the bear hug, I'm not pin my arms this time. So if you're like this, same kind of principle. You got to get your body on him, and you want to pin the hands, and you want to flare your arms out this time. And instead of before I brought it in to control the elbow, since I'm on the inside, I want to bring it out. The reason why I want to do that, if I go like this, as long as he has an elbow movement and arm control, he can throw my body and take me down. But if you do it like this, where you're like, I don't call it rocking the cradle, or rocking the baby, I mean, throw me. So I actually swing the elbow to the direction I feel him bringing me down. So if he's trying to bring me down this way, I bring it this way and I neutralize it. So that prevents him from being having control. And once I get that, one of the fastest things I can tell is, once you get control here, headbutt him. Just go real quick. And then what we call snake slip down from that. Exhale and bring your body thinner so you can slip. And then once you get underneath, then you can do techniques. In terms of what you want to do, that's all depends. But the fastest way when you're being grabbed is hit, boom, hit, and exhale, and bring your hands up. And you got your elbow shots. You bring your hands, make sure you hook them along the wrist. So if you don't do this and take your throat. So as soon as I snake slip, my hands hook inside. I don't want to just put my hands along the wrist. So this way,
I can't get my hands.
Yeah, and if he does, I'm here anyways. And then here, I kind of relax. I can do whatever I want after that.
Yeah.
So, but there are millions of ways, I won't say millions, but lots of ways to get out and move. But the basic principle,
At least three.
The basic principle is making sure that you gain control of the hold. He has a hold on you, but who's got the control of it? That's the question. So to gain control, you get the hands and flare your arms out if you're being grabbed outside. Because I want to get the arm control. Because if I control his limbs, then he has no limbs. I control it, he has none. Because he can't take me where he wants. Okay? And if he tries to bring me down, that's why I bring my butt in. And my body's on him. Because it's hard for him. If I'm like this in a way, he'll bump me. He'll scoot away, and then he'll be able. But if he does the same thing, see if I bring my body to him, it's very difficult for him to take me. So we have a rule: MC, LC. More contact, more control; less contact, less control. So the more contact you have with the opponent, the better you have the ability to control your opponent. So, and if your arms are free, and again, it works on the same principle here. I want to get the control between the wrist and the elbow, because if I chopped off his wrist and elbow, what kind of influence does he have on me? As long as he has his elbows on me to control me, he'll drive into my ribs and break my body structure, and then he'll basically take control. So I want to have 2 points, because I want to be able to take any pressure that he has here, bring the hands, anything he does from the hands, I can bring it to the elbow. So if he's trying to drive me down, I can take it and bring it towards the hand. If he's trying to turn his hand, swing me, I can take that and bring it towards his elbow. So it just depends on the way you're going to counterattack him. But create pressure on your opponent as well as he grabs you. Don't try to get away from it, because that's where most people will fail, because now you're losing the ability to put pressure on your opponent to control him. In order to control him, you have that pressure on your opponent. So if you don't have your pressure on your opponent, you're not going to get the control. You're going to try and get out, and then you get thrown. Because remember, he's going to act on you too. It's not just you to act on him, he'll stand there. You got to control that point where he can act on you, because if he can act on you, he can take you. So we got to prevent that and minimalize it as much as possible, which is why we have to have hand control and arm control. Because now all he really has is his legs, where he can bend his knees and drop his body and turn like that. But that's why we want to prevent that. That's why I stick my body into him, because now if he uses his legs, he can feel my body hit him too. and I have arm control, then I can take it. Again, depending on what I need to do, I can strike quick, or I can make a fake strike and then just turn this down and bring out my leg at the same time. And you can see, here we go, guys, on him. And then you can see that this breaks it out from here. So I can grab here, go around, break it out from here. So, unless he taps. He's not tapping, so I can't. I can't tap. He's not tapping. Oh, sorry. Got carried away. But that's some of the principles that you want to keep in mind. Now, the training, there's other ways. I'm not going to say that's the only way, but that's one of the most efficient, effective way to get control of the guy real quick. Be on him, put control points from the hand and elbow, and then get the strike in, and then do the move, whatever you have to do.
Who asked this question?
This was Sifu P.
Okay.
I hope that helped.
I'm thinking Larry's not too happy about that question. We will move back down and see what our next question is. Adjust everything real quick.
Hope that answered your question if you're on the line.
Yep, and if it didn't, and there's a specific scenario that you would like covered for next week, please let us know. I'm sure Sifu Larry will be happy to oblige. Maybe not. Sean Paul says, with Wing Chun and No Deck Na, there doesn't seem to be any kicks above the waist. When you compare Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do style based on Wing Chun, he has a bag full of great kicks. What's the reason behind this?
We do kicks above. I do kicks above, but most of the time they say in life you use 90% to 95% of your hands for everything you do. So your hands are involved in almost everything you do in terms of walking, talking. You know, people talk with their hands, you eat with your hands, you flick the remote with the TV with your hands, you know, grab your foot. Some people may, but most people grab their hands. But we do kick high above the heads. I just don't emphasize it as much because it's, unless you are concentrating on being very focused into kicking, it takes a lot of dedication and practice to get your legs to get up there and back. I'm not saying it's not good. It requires a lot of practice on the legs, because you remember you're standing on one leg, you got to pick up a leg is a lot heavier than hand. The theory of Wing Chun is it's usually 8% hands to 20% feet, and most of the kicks are from the waist, and it's usually from the solar plex down. And the reason why is because as you start to go higher, your body starts to compromise. And what I mean by that is I can kick up to my solar plex like this and not compromise my body. But when you start to kick higher up to the head and everything, you start to tilt your body. You compromise your body structure and your balance, so you're not as strong rooted. So in Wing Chun, they usually kick from the waist below because just anatomically speaking, it's more comfortable for your body to kick that range without compromising your body structure, like tilting, leaning, and stuff like that. So that's the theory of Wing Chun. But you know, I do kick. I just don't emphasize the kick as much because my hands are a lot faster than my legs when it comes to hitting, and I have better control of my hands than I do with my legs. If I use my legs, I usually kick low because people are good at guarding high. So if a kick comes, a lot of people can guard it or they'll dodge it. Low kicks are a lot harder to block because usually when you're side, your hands don't naturally go down. So that's why a lot of times you see a lot of the main kicks in the MMA, they kick to the thigh. You know, they do kick to the face, but it's rare. Most of the kicks are always to the thighs because it's harder to stop. And
a good kick to the thigh hurts.
Yeah, when you do the way we kick, it's designed to pierce. It's not designed to hit hard. It's not like, I always like to say, like, think of a hard kicker, like when the kick, it's like a 2x4 hitting you. A guy with strong leg can take it and he'll break the 2x4. The way we're like a 2x4 with a 9-inch nail coming out of it. So imagine that coming hitting you. That's the difference. Kicking high is fine if you're flexible and you're very good at it. All the power to you. I'm not going to say don't do it. It's just a matter of preference. I prefer to use my hands over my feet, especially at close quarter. It's just more practical for me, and it's just, I feel safer when my feet are down and rooted. I can get more power through the root. The legs require more energy. This here is much faster. It takes less energy than for me to kick my leg up there and get to the face.
Right.
And you know, the theory is if my hands are here, which is close to the face, this one, or bring my leg up to the face. So again, that's a preference thing. I prefer to use what's practical to me.
I was gonna
and
say a
what's
little,
easy.
little more efficient.
Yeah, and more efficient. So that's just my take. You know, if someone likes to kick, Bruce Lee never really kicked high. He didn't believe it until he met Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris
Right.
said, you know, why can't? And so he started doing it, and he was fine. He emphasized, he put a lot of time into it. He was very good at it. So that's a preference.
Right. And I honestly think if Bruce Lee was actually like in a street fight, this is just me, you're not going to see him doing all those fancy high kicks that you see in the movies.
Yeah.
It's just
very
not
rare
efficient.
You see people kicking in a street fight.
Right.
Up to the
Especially
face.
that
Up to the
high.
face.
And mainly because you said it's just inefficient. So I guess what I would like to say, Sean Paul, is think of it as great kicks don't have to be fancy kicks. A great kick is a kick that's efficient and effective and does the damage to make you be able to get out faster.
And you got to look at risk versus reward.
Right.
Is that reward worth the risk that you're on one leg, that you're going to expose, that he can kick your kneecap or your shin or your ankle? Now, again, if you're very good at your kicks and you're very, very fast at it, it's fine. But look at tons and tons of video tips on YouTube on street fights. You rarely ever see kicks to the face. You see kicks to the body, to the leg, but very rarely does it take people kick to the face. And the reason why is because it takes a lot more energy, a lot more effort to do. Practicality-wise, I can hit you much faster this way than it is for me to kick you that way. If you see in Bruce Lee, most of his fights, it's always hands. If he did the street fights, he did mostly hands. He'll go in for the low kick, like to the shin, to the knee, to disable the ability to be mobile, to move, and then he would use his hands for the rest. It's much, much faster to use your hands than it is your legs.
Yeah.
But if you have a preference and you say, I want to use my legs, that's fine. You just have to train to get good with your legs as you are your hands. You know, but my preference is I'd rather use my hands than my legs. I will use my legs as my initial from the waist and even the solar plex.
Yeah.
And if I can see an opportunity to kick the face with his hands drop, yeah, I can kick the face. I'm not saying I never will, but I would never use that as my main arsenal.
Right.
It's not my preference to do that as my first and only or primary one. I can use it my first one, but then I always follow through the hands. To kick with your legs all the time, you always stand on one leg. You always have to find your balance. Always have to keep that center, and it's very hard. I'm much stronger having two legs that on the ground than on one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, Sean, just, obviously do what works for you, what feels good to you, but, think about efficiency and effectiveness. That's the main thing. It doesn't have to look cool. It doesn't have to look fancy. It just has to be effective and efficient. All right. And then we have, I'll go ahead. We have Richard. He says, Sifu probably has come across this question before, but what is a good way to deal with multiple attackers? There seems to be a different answer given in the martial arts community.
That's a big variety. For us, we base our principle of multiple attacking, what we call shield fighting. And that's basically when you have multiple people, you want to put one person in between other people. You don't want to be fighting to your left, your right, your back, and your front. It's just too many
variables,
coming at you, variables. So we basically, when we get to one person, we want to use that one person that we're fighting to and just cover one side. So if I have a person in front of me and I cut the angle, I can put him between me and everybody to my left if he's on the left and then focus on the right. Or we get to like the neck control, head control, we can pull him, take him, and everything like that. It's just too many variables to talk about exactly how one has to multi-fight. Every attack is different size and people, the number of people, the angle. But the basic principle you want to use is making sure that if you're covering one person, have them protect that side that you have. So if I'm attacking a person in front of me and I can see someone coming to the left of me, I might want to move him to my left and deal with the person on my right. So I can put him in between. So at that moment, that person trying to come in might hesitate because he's in the way and he has to stop for a second. And that gives me the moment I can attack someone to my right. Controlling the neck, controlling the shoulders and everything helps bring him and allows me to control him. So if I'm in tight with someone, I will go for the neck immediately, get control of the neck like a Muay Thai Kung Fu. I get to the neck, and then I can turn him wherever I want. And in the same time, I'm going to hit him at the same time. So I'm going to disable him and also use him as a hindrance for anybody else who wants to come in from that angle. And I would immediately attack another person. I did a video before where I had 5 people, random people, just attack me, and I demonstrated it. And they were like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, we actually, Richard, as soon as we can get some of Sifu's students, so this is a call out to Sifu students or even Sifu Larry students to come in, and get 4 or 5 of you to come in. we want to do actual filming for the site for this and cover this, because we do get this a lot. What if? And yeah, so we definitely have techniques and stuff. We just need to get enough people to come in to film with us, and we'll make it happen for you.
One of the things I would say is, like, when you get multiple attacks, put in your mindset that you have to attack.
Yeah.
You don't want to defend. You don't want to be blocking because there's too many attacks. You want to go forward. You want to go in and hitting one guy to the next, to the next.
You have to create injury, so they're not going to want to get back up, because you gotta,
And when you have, like, say 10 people, just remember 10 people can't all throw a punch in the same center as you. They're gonna, hit arms, hit shoulders if you're all attacking one time. So what you want to do is, like I said, create a window where you can create an opening, a shield where you can protect, and then attacks on another point, and constantly be putting someone in between. And if you can get control of someone close, start hitting them to damage them, and then just turn them to someone else. And that's just like the fundamentals. Again, to say this is how it has to be every time. The variation's too much, too many variables, too many.
Too
10
many
people,
unknowns.
4 people, 20 people.
Do they have bats? Do they
know,
have guns?
Let's take away weapons, but
Yeah.
just
I was just being
where's the
facetious.
attack coming first? Does it come from your left? Does it come
Right.
from the right? Is someone bum rushing you? Or is 2 attacking you at the same time? I do a lot of demonstration where I do 2 or 3 attacks in group classes, and I say, okay, I want you guys to punch me. I want to just demonstrate, and then I do it, and then I have them follow that, and I just show them a scenario where, okay, I want you 3 to attack. I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Right.
And I said count them. And they're like, oh, okay. And I said, okay, this is how I want you to do it, so they can see what reality is like when somebody attacks. And they say, and I teach them pointers. Like, say when somebody does this, just make sure that you never turn your back to this guy. If I'm coming forward, I'm going to hit this guy. I'm going to turn my body and bump him maybe to this guy and turn to face him. I'm always trying to make sure that I have someone in between me and my opponent, and then I'm free to take the other person, like I said. And that's the fundamental that I keep in mind all the time. The hands that come at me, I come forward to attack, put pressure on them so I can use control of that. So all that is just basically like just fundamental principle. And then how you do this, that's your experience, that's your practice. And there's just getting the instinct to do it, and just through practice and just training and it becomes easier the more you do it. It actually does. I've had demonstrations a lot where I just have random people come up and it's just throw a punch. I don't care what it is, and just have them do it. And I just demonstrate, because when you tell people, you throw a straight punch, you throw a hook punch, and you come kick me, it's pre-rehearsed.
Right, it's pre-rehearsed.
And so to me, it's never authentic. So I never pre-rehearse nothing. When I do seminars, I don't rehearse anything.
No, you don't. You just I
just say,
pick the biggest person.
You hear, attack me. And they're like, what? I said, I don't care how you attack me, just attack me. So I can demonstrate how it works.
Right.
Without predetermining the attacks. So I can show that it really does work. Because when you dictate how it's fighting, then you're not fighting.
Right.
You're choreographing. And so I never choreograph. I don't like to do that, because then when I see people, I'm like, yeah, I know that don't work.
Right.
You can look great, but that's only because you know it's coming. If you don't know it's coming, it's another story. So I always demonstrate, just attack me how you want, so I can show the principles of how it works.
Right. Because if you're on the street, no one's gonna choreograph with you. They're not gonna be like, you're not gonna be like, hey, you hit me this way, you hit me that way, and you kick me this way. They're gonna come at you random. So you got to be prepared for that. So
you can always ask my students. I never, unless it's like a form, and I want them to make sure they do the form right with the sequence. I don't go over anything with my students when I do seminars or anybody. I just say, just do it. That's all. Just do it. Because I want them to see, anybody watch can see that this is not cooperative fighting. This is random. Go ahead, give it all you got. I have people fully punching as hard as they can. I demonstrate all the time. I eat the punch. Sometimes I just let them show that they have a weak point. And sometimes I just punch them as hard as you can. I remember doing a demo. I had a 6'3", 6'4" guy. He had to be like at least 225. I told him to hit me as hard as you can in the face. I said, knock my head off. And he's like, what? I said, just punch me as hard as you can. So you can if you can knock my head off my shoulders, do it. And he's like, really? And I just said, listen, I get hit, I won't get mad at you. I need you to do it full force so you can see what it's like. So he punched me, I demonstrated. Then I did it with my feet together. I did it on one leg. So your job is to knock my head off, knock me over if you can. And he couldn't. And then people were like, wow. And they could see that was real, because I picked the stranger. I told him to do as hard as you can. And I let him do it 4 or 5 times. Where the first time he might have done 50%. And he said, oh, he can stop that. And then he went 80, then he went 100. And then he put everything he got. And it was just like, yeah, see, it doesn't matter. it still works. I demonstrate through the energy, not through the choreography.
Right. Awesome. So we have another question in our email, which is, what are your thoughts on weightlifting for martial arts? Is it better to do calisthenics, dynamic tension exercises, or does it depend on the individual's wants and needs?
Well, I could say this.
And that was from Kevin, sorry.
Bruce Lee always said, big muscles are only good for what it took to get them there. So how did you get big muscles? You did by lifting weights. That's all it's really good for. What you really want to focus on is on your tendons over your muscles. And yes, muscles are connected to tendons, which connects to the bones, but you really want to do training type of workouts where lifting weights is fine, but do it more on high rep rather than high weight.
Yeah.
That'll help build your endurance. It'll help build your stability when you're lifting. So you're creating stabilizing muscles to learn to keep steady in movement. You learn how to create faster movement and twitching. So, that's fine. And lifting weights is fine, but just remember, your body's made to be a certain size. You see bodybuilders who are like this thick. It's really, really not a good thing for your body. You have to eat a lot of food to maintain that.
Right.
It takes a lot of energy for your body to move. Most people don't stretch, so they get tighter. It's very important to stretch when you're working out, so you keep your flexibility and not to create rigidity. So those are fine if you lift weights, but just remember, don't lift weights so you can get bulky and big. I do it for more for the density. To get my muscles denser and striations. Not for just bulk. You will naturally bulk if you do the striations and you do the density. They will bulk up to, but it will bulk up to a certain
natural
physique. Not like,
where you
my
can
gosh,
move
that guy's
and
muscles
still
3 times bigger than his
flexible.
body.
Yeah.
You don't want to be where it becomes out of proportion.
Right.
You want to be within proportion.
Hey, Sifu Larry, do you want to share your story about how when you were bulking before versus how you work out now with weights? No?
I'd like Sphere to come. Hey, Sphere, get on the airplane, come over, and you can attack Sifu.
Uh-oh.
He wants me to attack. He's like, just sneak him. I'm like, sneak him. Get hurt.
Can't, I can see him. No.
Woo!
Oh,
You
wait,
just
what's
get
the question?
hurt. So this member Kevin was asking, what are your thoughts on weightlifting and martial arts? And we were just talking about, how obviously you don't want to bulk.
When I was first doing, when I first joined, or when I first started training Sifu, I was actually going to the gym and taking a lot of whey protein, and I was lifting real heavy, and my arms got so.
You couldn't even like put your arms together, right? You
I
couldn't
remember
even do that.
we're doing Wing Chun, and I'm trying to hold my center, and I'm like, Sifu, I don't got a center. And I had to stretch, and I had to train my arms to get closer and tighter. And I actually, over the years, realized I was much faster the leaner my body was.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the bigger and bulkier you are, the slower you are.
Yeah,
So
and we
we
do weightlifting, but we are like, compared to other people that go to the gym, like we're in there, like our weightlifting sessions are what, maybe 15, 20 minutes max.
Great, by the way.
Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes max. Sometimes it's only 10 minutes, and we just work on the individual muscle groups each day. So they're very short, like Sifu said, higher reps and stuff like that. And we're not trying to get bulky. We're trying to just be more efficient, fast, and healthy.
And for martial art purposes, you're really better off to focus more energy and effort on your cardiovascular and your endurance.
Yeah, and your calisthenics.
Than you are, getting real big.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know, Kevin, if you're like a paid member, or if you're just an intro member, but if you are a paid member, you can go into the training hall and check out the core training sections. There's tons of great calisthenics and dynamic tension exercises in there for you. So
And just remember,
hopefully that helps.
Just remember, all training, no matter what it is you do, will benefit you physically. Okay, but it's not necessarily good technique-wise. Getting bulkier, like Sifu Larry was saying, you can get to the point where you lose flexibility, you become more rigid. Your hands can't
Not as
get
fast.
that range the way it is, and the more mass you are, like I said, it takes more energy to move, and so it's slower.
You got to eat more. That costs more. It also expends more energy in your body.
Yeah, you take something like an engine on a Mack truck,
Right.
and you accelerate that car, it might get 0 to 60 in maybe like 20 seconds. It's a big, heavy vehicle. If you put the same engine on a motorcycle, you're going to get there probably in about 4 seconds.
Right.
It's a big difference because of the mass behind it. So we want to create density. Don't get me wrong. You're still going to look good. You're going to still look striated, like how a lion looks. You could just, or a cheetah. The muscle striated. Like, man, they can build speed, and you can just see the striations in their muscles, and that's what you want. You want to have that speed, because muscles,
That
believe it or not,
lean,
are
fit, toned
ineffective
look.
in a fight. Bruce Lee always talked about how muscles aren't really able to be used, because as long as you learn how to move someone's force, you don't have to fight it. If you're going against it, that's where strength comes into play. If you're fighting force on force, then it matters. But if you learn how to control the energy, the movement behind that force, then strength doesn't matter. Remember, strength is measured by oppositional force. So if there's no oppositional force, your strength can't be utilized to its optimal. So if she's, I always demonstrate, someone pull my arm down, they can fight, they can use their strength to pull my arm down. Then when I don't fight them, they're like, and I use the strength, some of the muscles you had, and they can't. And it's because the only reason why is because I'm not fighting. Imagine when you're lifting weight, it just floated with you. How are you going to get your muscles to get stronger? You need resistance for the muscles to be truly applied. So when someone's forcing you, as long as you know how to control the energy and you learn to move with it, connect, form, control, then it's not going to be a factor for you. I was just with one of my students, and he was talking about boxer's punch, and I told him, punch me as hard as you can. I mean, give me any type of punch. I just stood there, boom, 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 and I moved. I said, the reason why it doesn't hurt me is because I'm controlling and redirecting the force. Think of it like this in physics. I don't know if you ever heard that a vehicle, I think in the military, they call it the Bear. And basically, it was designed to go over landmines. Any Jeep would go over landmine, the mine would explode, it would blow underneath, and would destroy the vehicle. The Bear was made with thicker armor, but it's not only because the armor was thicker, because a good mine can still create damage. It was made to shape. It was made like a V at the bottom, and it was made to taper out. And the reason why, because when the landmine blows up, it would hit into the V and get redirected outside of the car. It wouldn't be able to drive just straight up. It would be redirected to go outside around the vehicle. And that allowed them, I think it's called the Bear. Like I said, don't quote me on that. I think it was called the Bear. But it was able to go over landmines, and they were using it to ride right over landmines. So when the landmine blew up, it would just go, and it goes outside the vehicle. It would never really hit underneath with people. Obviously, thicker armor makes a difference too, but having thicker armor, but having it straight will cause the car to create more damage. Like, it might take only 5 landmines by the time it cracks. Where this one with the V shape, it was able to take like 100, because it was able to deflect most of the force out. And that's the same principle we do. We impact it with a structure, but we move the energy through the shape of the wrist control and how we turn the energy. And so strength is not a factor. When anybody who says it is, that's because they only know how to use that to rely on techniques to work. But it's not true. I've demonstrated time and time again with martial arts all around the world. So it's never a factor unless you make it one. It's an influence, but not the primary reason for success or failure. That's your technique and control.
Absolutely. Hey, Cagler, I don't know if you're still on this, but you don't need to record the webinar. We record it for you. So it'll be available on the YouTube channel as well as in the Friday update. So you don't have to worry about that at all. He also said, I do non-weightlifting CrossFit with my bodybuilding weight training too. Awesome. That's cool. Oh, and yep, Melanie just sent a link for the law enforcement Bear variants. So very cool. You're welcome. Yeah.
Is it called the Bear?
Yeah. Yeah, it's called the Bear. So
I remember something like that.
So yeah, Cagler, you never have to. We record every one of these. So if you go back into our Friday updates, you can totally go watch all the previous ones we've done. We always record these, so that way the people that don't attend can still benefit from these, and they can send in their questions and still get them answered as well. And yeah, very huge. Just go to our blog. We send it out every Friday. It's the weekly update. So if you're not getting those, email me at support@entershalyn.com, and I'll take a look to see why you're not getting them. But every Friday we send them out. You can also go when you log into the website where it says stay in the know, just click on that. That'll take you to the blog post. All the previous ones, you can see that, or you can go to our blog at entershalyn.com/blog and be able to access all the weekly updates there as well. But let me know if you're not getting them so I can take a look at your account. Yes, Mel, definitely glad they are recorded because even if you're on, if you want to be able to watch these later, you only retain so much even when you're sitting here live. So it's always go back to.
Replay value is great.
Yeah, the replay value is wonderful. So you can always go back and go, what was it that Sifu said about that one thing? All right, so Rick says, hi everyone. In Tai Chi, there's a form called slant flying. This form seems very unstable to me. Maybe I don't understand how it works. How do you stay rooted?
Slant flying, I think you're referring to what we call diagonal fly. That's I think that's what
I think so too.
So the main thing is, and I had a hard time when I first learned this too. Diagonal fly can be tricky because you're turning and extending your leg out, and then you feel like you're struggling to maintain that. First thing is you want to make sure your body structure is above your legs. So if this is the move, okay, I don't know, but I'm just gonna assume that you're talking about diagonal fly, which is slant flying. That's what I interpret, and she's thinking the same thing too. So make sure that when you go, and it comes.
He said yes. That's what he was thinking of. Yeah, he said that was the thing.
Okay, so it comes after diagonal fly. Okay, and when I teach my students this, I pretty much tell them how to break it down to steps. So if you're taking after repulse monkey, you want to make sure you're seated. Okay, we go on heel, we go on toe, so we can keep our center. A lot of people, they fall because what they do is they turn and fall into that turn. You want to practice going like this and keep your arms stable. You want to just think of your feet first, and you just want to go from here, keep your center, and turn your heel down. Plant your heel, shift your weight, and turn your rear foot from that. Most people, they fall into it. So make sure that you're not going like this. And they take their hand and they just, you see how I turn? I didn't stay on top of my leg. I want you to turn and stay on top. You see I still stay on top of my leg? And then I want to put my foot down. Then I'll put the heel. Then I put the toe. Now, if you sit there and say, well, I'm not flexible, I can't really turn that much, go smaller. Okay? You might not get the angle you need. Go smaller than that. It's okay. You got to go to what you can and cannot do. Everybody's range is different. Everybody's body control is different because, you know, some people are flexible, some people are not. Some people are overweight, some people are in shape. It all depends, okay? But make sure that when you do diagonal fly, your hands are coming to the center. Do not throw your hands out with your leg because that's what's going to throw you. Create the center between your leg and your hand to your center. You see how when I turn, everything's center. I don't fall that way. I only turn that way. So make sure that you're just here and just allow your hip to turn. You see I just turn my hip? Then I can just put my heel up. You see I just... So that's the first thing you want to get. People often think of the diagonal fly, but they try to go into the diagonal fly and they fall into it. You got to get your root before you can get your movement. So like in all forms, like when I do grass sparrow's tail, I don't fall into it. I root into it and then I can move into it. So you're doing the same thing. You want to stay in your root and put your heel down before you can put your weight down. Once you feel your heel down, plant your toe down, and then do your diagonal fly and allow your body to follow through the way it's supposed to in the form. So make sure that when you turn, and if you can't do all together, do only your feet first. I tell people just do this. Go up. See if you can turn and stay stable. If you can't turn and stay stable, then you're off. If you're like this, I can't. I keep falling. Then that's your problem to begin with. You're leaning on the turn. Root. Fine. Make sure your head's above your heel. Turn and keep your head above the heel. Put the heel down. Plant the toe. Shift the weight and allow your body to follow through accordingly. So make sure that before you try to create the turn and put your foot down, try to turn and see if you can still stay on that leg. If you're falling from it, there's your answer. You're actually leaning into the turn. You're not tilting, torquing and rooting on that. So don't do this. A lot of people feel like they're turning, they'll actually fall because you're not feeling your movements. You're thinking your movements. You got to feel for your body's energy. Not just do the technique just because you know the steps. It's like dancing music because you know the steps, but not feeling the music. You know what I'm saying? You need to feel the music to work with the steps. You need to feel your body's energy to make it work for you. So you want to feel that connection in your body to the ground. You got to keep your root. If you don't root, you're gonna lean. You get forward energy one of two ways. You do it through rooting or you do it through leaning. If you're not rooting, you're leaning. And that's why you feel like you're falling all the time. So make sure that you pivot without throwing your body. Like I said, one more time. Here, up, see I'm stable. I turn, I'm stable. I plant my heel, I'm still here. Plant my toe. Then I'll shift my weight. Once my toe touches the ground, then I can shift my weight. Do not shift your weight until then. Otherwise, you're shifting on something that's not stable. You didn't plant and feel the ground yet. So make sure you do that, and then it should be better for you.
Awesome. So let's see. Melanie.
Hope that answered your question.
I think it did. It should. Practice, practice, practice.
Proper practice.
Yeah, proper practice.
Practice.
You know, and it's true because like as the more you do your Tai Chi properly, the better your balance is going to be. And so those things that are much harder to do at first, like it's going to become eventually a piece of cake. You just got to give it time and work on having the proper mechanics. So Melanie says, I was trying to teach side to side bend from the Qigong to someone, and they said the back knee was feeling strained. What advice do you have to help with that?
Now, I don't know how old they are. I don't know if they have knee problems, so I can't say. If they have a knee problem, like, for example, they have a torn ligament, then they got to have surgery. You know, I can't answer. But if they just feel stressed, a lot of times do the knee squeeze. It loosens the knees out, and then they can do that. Sometimes you can just, it's like that. When, like for me, sometimes I can feel that stress. Like, oh, I feel my knee, and I just move to, I feel like a pop because there's a ligament crossing over bone. It's just right there. And like you get it off, like, oh, it feels much better. Then the pain's gone, the stress is gone, and then I can freely move and not bother me. So I don't know who that person is, so I don't know if they have a problem with their knees or not. But if you feel the stress, just tell them to do the knee squeeze first, which is this one. This one. It helps warm up the knees. You'll hear a lot of times people's knees go crack, 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 and it's good. That's loosening up the knees, letting all the tendons sit where it needs to sit. And then you can do it a lot better. Now, the other thing is if they feel stressed, you can watch out, pay attention that their knees not passing the front ball of their feet. If they do, they will stress the knee, because if you think of it like this is your foot, and this is your knee, and this is your heel, and let's say that's your toe. If you're doing your knee and this is like your front ball here, once you start to go like this, you can see the angle. It starts to spill this way, and it causes your body to fight from falling forward. So you put more stress on your knees to stop from doing that. So just pay attention that they're not passing their front ball with their knee, because now you're passing 70-30. So the other thing is if they're leaning, they're tilting their body, they're stressing out the knee because of that, and their lower back. So make sure the posture's right. Tell them to take a deep breath, keep the posture right, and then feel the ground. Tell them to sink their butt to the floor a little bit, turn the hips forward a little bit, so they can feel their heel on the front ball to be solid to the ground, not one side more than the other.
Right. I was thinking like if they're a little bit off balance and stuff, you know, that weakens the knees. So just really pay attention, like Sifu said, to their posture. Are they going past where they're supposed to? Have them warm up, and that should help. And just overall take it easy. Like if they can't go all the way, you know, because there's something wrong with their knees, like have them go to where they feel comfortable and good. And eventually they'll be able to go further and further with that. Let's see. Russell says, Rick said, thank you. That helped a lot with the diagonal fly. And Russell says, Sifu, I want to start training with still rings. What type of size do I need to start with? Are there any exercises? Yes, there are tons of ring exercises. I believe they are under Wing Chun, Sifu Larry? Yes, they are under the Wing Chun section.
Yes, I think so.
And basically it needs to be from here to the inside.
Yeah, so roughly around the elbow to the wrist. That's what you want to think of, like just right there. That's an idea. It could be a little big, it could be a little small.
Yeah.
Rings can be adjustable, but ideally the reason why you do that is you're punching like this, so it's supposed to be along the forearm length, because that's what your hands are supposed to cycle into, about the length of your forearm.
Yeah.
So that's the standard. Now you can go a little bigger, you can go a little smaller, just do ranges, but really the standard size is that.
Yeah, and Russell, if you want, we actually have where we got our rings from, which came in a 3-size set. So it's nice if you're training with different people, because they're going to be different sizes and stuff like that. If you go to entershannon.com/recommended, or if you go under the members menu, there's a recommended spot. Just click on that and you'll be able to see all the different tools that we recommend. And speaking of that, I should go ahead and do this, because we've been having a lot of people ask lately, what is going on with the Mac trainer? I don't know 100%. What I do know is that the builder has kind of gotten a little sad that his sales weren't where he thought they should be. He went back to work as an engineer, and he's kind of like dabbling, trying to figure out like if he's going to just sell parts where people can build it on their own. and so the plans to make it or what he's going to do. So right now he's not actually producing any of them, but as soon as I know more, I will let you guys and gals know about that. But I just wanted, since we are talking about training tools and stuff like that, to just kind of mention that and get that out there, because I have had several people want to go and try to buy one and they're not able to right now, and that's what's going on. So I am waiting to hear back from the creator and find out more. And for those of you that already bought one, don't worry, we're not going to leave you high and dry. We're still going to make different training videos. We're still going to make you videos and stuff like that too. And we're also looking for a solution for those that want to get one or something similar. So we are doing our part, and we do apologize for the inconvenience that's caused for anyone. Okay, so Russell, we got taken care of. Rick, we got taken care of.
Yeah, if you're gonna get steel rings, get them heavy. The heavier it is, the better. No, I'm kidding. You want it to where it's comfortable. As you get stronger, you can get heavier sets, because then you can learn how to get stronger forward intent with that. But get something where it's comfortable for you to begin with. Just develop your technique first, and then you put strength behind the technique once the technique's there.
Yep, and the ring set we got is definitely not too heavy. It's definitely a great starter set for you.
Speak for yourself. That hurts my. Okay.
And they have the bamboo ones if you want to go more traditional as well. So you could always start with the bamboo and work your way up to the steel one. So Mel says, oh, okay, her person is a teen and they're usually pretty flexible. My knees are really noisy. That was a problem as well, but they'll watch that, and yeah, she'll make sure to be careful with herself as well. It could just be that he's overextending then, if he's normally pretty flexible. I know that even when I was a teen, my right knee always gave me more issues than anything else. So just because you're a teen doesn't mean you don't have aches and pains too. So maybe, talk to him and say like,
flexible doesn't mean that your joints don't hurt.
Right. So just talk to him like, do you have any prior knee injuries? Does your knees normally ache or anything like that? And just get a good idea of where they're at and stuff, and use those tips that Sifu gave you, and all will work itself out over time. You're very welcome, Russell. All right, so I don't see, oh, you have to leave? No problem. You're very welcome. We're glad to have you on, and we hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to catch the replay to see all the rest of the stuff. Sifu Larry, do you have any questions from Facebook for us? I know Spare's been sending some naughty questions. He wants Sifu Larry to sneak up on Sifu Fu and do a monkey bite or something crazy that's just going to get him hurt. And I know you guys like to see Sifu Larry hurt, but he's already injured, so can we not hurt him anymore? All right.
Don't hurt me either. I don't care.
He doesn't like to be hurt either, right? Monkey bites hurt. So I don't know if there's any more questions, anything that you guys and gals want to ask. We still have about 10 minutes before we wrap up, so let us know. Let us know. You want to talk about probiotics?
Not really.
Not really.
Let's
What else can we talk about?
Well, let's talk about some stuff like if you guys ever like train, okay? It's Bruce Lee always said, have fun when you train. So when you train, don't always go out too hard, because you can actually hurt yourself worse.
Right.
So when you train, always focus on how to feel the moves rather than just perform the moves. I teach a lot of students, and every time we do techniques, they're always like trying to do the moves and trying to. I say, listen, stop trying to do the moves. Connect and feel the move.
Feel the move, yeah.
Feel the move. And you can feel when your body stresses. You can feel when your body strains. And then you got to learn not to do that, because what they do is when they go fast and their body stresses, they just continue to push through, because they're thinking of just executing the technique. And it's like, you can do a technique and you can execute it, but you can execute it wrong, and you're learning how to muscle through rather than control. So when you're focused on training, a lot of times, start off light, have them do the move, and you have a partner to train. Have them do the move, and then see if you can do it. If you can do it with ease, then have them put more pressure. And more pressure, what I mean, that's more speed, because they can't put more pressure unless you fight back. So just when I say that, they're going to put more speed on you. You have to go handle the speed. And the goal is really feel what you got to do. And if you find that you're struggling, you got to slow down. I always like to say go as fast as you can, but within your technique. So if your technique is compromised, then you're going too fast. You got to slow down. The one thing that I always did when I practice is I always try to feel my connections. And that is why I'm pretty good at it today with feeling the connection. I concentrate, like if I'm hating, I think of just how to land. Even the lightest part, I just land light. I just land. I just teach myself how to get these land drills. So I'm just teaching myself, and then I'll naturally go faster because once I get the feel for that, I can now know how to hit precise every time. So precision and technique is very important because it's going to allow you to hit powerfully or hit weak. It allows you to overcommit or hit to point. It's going to allow you to move fast or telegraph, you know. So technique is very, very important. It is, I always talked about it before, it's the key factor between your sensitivity and your physicality. You know, your physicality and your sensitivity aren't interconnected. They share because of the technique. Your technique enhances your physical. The technique allows you to your sensitivity allows you to feel, but it's your technique that allows you to perform. So they are the underlying principle is the most important is the technique. Not to say that technique by itself is the key, because without sensitivity, you don't know what technique to use. Without physicality, you may perform too slow. Like a 5-year-old kid with the best technique in the world is never going to be a 20-year-old guy because his physicality is not there. But between the two legs, the head is the technique. So make sure that you really train for the technique. If you always find that you're doing a technique and then you find that you think God and someone put you under pressure, you find that you're not doing it right, it's because you didn't get your technique down. You went through the motion but didn't feel the move. It's like I always talk about, it's like dancing steps to music but never ever feel the music. You learn by memorizing, not by feeling. Dancing is a feel. Playing music is a feel. Most everything you do when it comes to physical expression is feel. Even painting, you know, people who do like art, it's a feel. This is a martial art. It's a feel. You have to develop your feel to what you do, and if you do that, you'll find that you'll improve much better. You'll enhance yourself much better. Your physical movement will be better. The energy control will be a lot better. Your focus on your movements will be a lot better. Your conservation of energy and your fluidity will be a lot better. Everything is based on the technique. That's what creates fluidity. That's what creates focus and power. That's what creates efficiency of economy of motion. So all that is because of the technique. So always feel what you do. Don't just do it. Don't put the objective, like when you do a lock, don't think of the takedown. Think of the point in which you must lock and lock the point, and he'll go down because of that. Most people think of take a lock, they go for the takedown. So they'll pull it and they try to bring him down, and then they force a lock into it. When a guy's fighting you, it's not going to work. You got to learn how to control the point, and then you can take the guy on. So focus on your technique. That's that's the best thing I can tell anybody to do. That's what I train all the time. I mean, I do physicality, don't get me wrong. I do the forms, but in my forms, I focus on my techniques.
Right.
My movements, I focus. That's why when I do this, I tell people all the time, like when they pop their hands and they do the woo, they'll bring the hand to stop the hook punch and go like this. And you can see my hands right in my face, and you can see that they're turning. I'm like, listen, go straight vertical. I'm like, okay. And they'll go like this. And it's like, no, that's not vertical. They'll go packing and they'll go like this. And it's like, no, you're not vertical. So they're thinking of how to stop the punch and not feeling the energy behind it. And, you know, vertical is the best way. The woo is the default, right? And that tells me right then and there that if you can stay on the woo, then you know how to stay on the wrist. And then from there, you can vary. You can just change variations and get to your wrist. Rather than like, do I look like I'm going on my wrist or do I look like I'm going on my wrist? So you got to pay attention to that. Technique is the key. That's how you get your hands and muscle memory to do what it needs to do. You want to develop that into a muscle memory. So it becomes without thought, you know, acting without thought. And you want that act to be a natural act where everything's to point, everything natural, not forced, not, I got it, rather than just like, wow, it's easy. Well, I don't do that all the time. I always tell myself, why don't you? It's the way to do it. And so feel your techniques more than anything else. When you practice for the techniques. It's the best thing I can tell you to do. Feel how to hit for the point, not for the motion. It goes with everything we do.
Absolutely. We got a couple more questions coming up. Let's see. Alvin says, hello, Sifu. How much do you tense the body when you execute the techniques like the parry, or is it only when you strike?
To answer the question, I don't parry at my level. I strike everything. There's no such thing as parry for me. I strike or counter strike. So, and the idea is, think of what a jut is. If you're not sure what a jut is, it's a snapping of the wrist. Okay, everything goes into the wrist one way or another. There are 6 points in your wrist that you can snap into. 3 in the front, 3 in the back. Okay, you got your pinky side, your center, and then you get your thumb side. And the same goes the opposite. You get the thumb side, the center, and the pinky. So whenever you move, the goal is to drive the 3-proof. Get the energy to come from the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and then it goes to the point to where you need. And whether it be your hand that hits or your arm hits, that little jolt is what you have. You have to have your base to get your structure, and you have to have the jolt to get your control of the energy. So when I snap, it's because I create like a jerk motion. So all my movements are based on jerks and the twitching of the muscle, but never a strong tension in the muscle. It's just a quick contraction and then relax, so I can go to the next move if I need to. If I need to counter to hit, then I can do. I can go from like this to this right away. But I'm like this intense, and then go. You can't get to the point where you're tensing and then you're dying off that energy to relax, and then you go again. Right. You have to keep the energy. Once my energy is in my hand, it stays in it. It never leaves until I'm done.
Consistency of pressure.
Right. Wow. So your hand keeps getting the energy, and then I steer that energy from the hands. And I'm always going to explode just a few inches, and then I'm recovering to the next one. But I never. It's funny because I was just teaching today how with my students how to parry when they punch, and they wouldn't have their hands like this. I would just stay on them and they punch and they did this. I would just shove their hands in their body. So you'd see, you're not getting your energy in your hands. You're actually just pulling your arm, and I would shut them down. So the goal is when you move, you got to keep the energy in your wrist. You keep pulling, and you think your energy in the wrist, but it's not. It's actually dropping to your elbow. It might look like you have it in your hands, but if you look at the motion, it's going to my elbow versus it's staying in my wrist. It's staying in my wrist. It's staying in my wrist versus it's going to my elbow, or pulling to my thumb versus turning into my wrist. So you got to pay attention to that, and that's really the key for me. It's always about the wrist to explode to the points I need, and that's how you execute your strikes. That's how you execute counter strikes. That's how you execute your locks through the 3-proof.
Awesome. Sifu Larry from Facebook. Beth Teresa says, Sifu trained me when I was in middle school, high school. I have 2 young children that I would like to bring to him. Are the classes for children?
Yes. How old? Oh, Beth. Hi. I remember you. Yeah. Do you have my number? I don't know if you have my number.
Email me at support@entershaolin.com, and I'll take care of you, Beth, and get you all the information you need. Karthik says, I just started doing the courses in the members area. It's really great and nicely organized to become good in martial arts. Awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. I just wanted to pass on my thanks for it. By the way, do we have any application related stuff, section videos to know how each of the techniques apply in real sense? Yes. If you're looking through, it depends what section you're in. If you're in Tai Chi, there's actual sections in the Tai Chi that are for application and breakdown. Same with the Wing Chun. So yeah, just explore a little bit more in the training hall, and you'll find all that good stuff. And if you need any help and you want to walk through, we can get on Zoom and do a meeting. You can go to entershaolin.com/schedule and let me know a good time for you. Just pick a date on the calendar and time that works for you, and I'll be glad to walk you through everything and help make some training recommendations as well.
Yeah, everything we do, we always like to show the technique. If we didn't get to it yet, we will.
Yeah, we're definitely not done.
Always doing it, so.
Oh, the kids are 3 and 5.
5, yes. 3, I don't know. It depends. It's very hard to teach a 3-year-old because their focus isn't there. But 5, that's when I usually start.
All right. You're very welcome, Karthik. And let me see, is there anything else? Looks like we are good to go, and we're right on 12, so we're actually on time today.
What video?
Bob said, Sifu, you saw, yeah, I was gonna say, we have a lot of older videos.
I still look the same, don't I? Just darker, maybe? More gray hair?
Okay. So yeah, thank you everyone for being on. If you want a cool Enter Shaolin hoodie or some other cool gear, you can always go to entershaolin. Oh, actually, funny.
No, I don't know how to get out of this one.
Actually, funny story. So I took my daughter to therapy yesterday, and I was walking out. The therapist goes, I've seen that shirt before. I was wearing my gray hoodie, and I was like, what, my hoodie? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, this is my business. And she was like, yeah, I saw a guy wearing it. I said, did he have long hair? And she's like, yeah, because she's over in Sicklerville and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's our Sifu. And she was like, that's so cool.
That was funny.
Yeah, so we're getting famous, one grocery store at a time. So yeah, if you want some shirts, we got hats, we got all kinds of stuff to be able to, wear your Enter Shaolin gear loud and proud. Also, for those of you looking to get training partners, if you wear your Enter Shaolin gear out like Sifu Larry did, people are going to talk to you. It starts conversations, and you might get some training partners that way. That's how Sifu Larry got a lot of his training partners. So yeah, you can go to entershaolin.com/shop anytime. Sometimes there's sales and stuff going on. As soon as I know, I usually send an email out about that.
And
Sometimes
that's
it's
not
free
in our
shipping. Yeah,
Not
yeah,
our
it's not our control. We do it through a company that supplies everything and ships it out for us. So yeah, so as soon as I know of any deals or whatever, I do send out emails. So if you're not on our email list already, there's a couple different ways to do that. If you're a member, you should already be on our email list. So if you're not getting our emails, email me at support@entershallon.com. I'll take care of you. If you're not a member yet, you can go to entershallon.com/ebook and get our free 5-day video series and our free ebook and some bonus videos. Members, I know I said this last week, but someone did it anyways. Do not re-sign up for the ebook and stuff. It is in your members area under my training in the No Deck Not intro section. If you do that, you're going to get kicked out and it's going to be messy. I'll still help you. I'll get it all straightened out for you. But if we can have less work, that's fabulous. If you make a mistake, I'll still love you and take care of you anyways. But I hope you all enjoyed the webinar. We're going to be here again next week, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to get a webinar link invite, you can email me at support@entershallon.com. I'll take care of you. And I hope those of you on Facebook enjoyed it as well. And we'll see y'all.
And if you have any questions, email us for next week.
Yep, absolutely. Bye for now, everyone. Have a great weekend.